بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أهلاً وسهلاً بكم إلى فعاليات الجلسة الافتتاحية لمنتدى الأمم المتحدة العالمي للبيانات 2018. نستهل جلستنا اليوم بكلمة ترحيبية يلقيها سعادة لو جينمان، مساعد السكرتير العام للأمم المتحدة للشؤون الاقتصادية والاجتماعية، فليتفضل مشكوراً.
Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 2018 United Nations World Data Forum in Dubai. I want to thank the government of the United Arab Emirates and the Federal Competitiveness and Statistics Authority of the United Arab Emirates for hosting this event. I also wish to thank the many representatives of national statistical systems, whom, through the Statistical Commission and the high-level group for partnerships, coordination, and capacity building for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, spearheaded this important event, and the program committee members for their work and dedication in putting together such an impressive program. Allow me also to express my sincere appreciation to the numerous partners, international agencies, and other donors who have supported the participation of many speakers and contributors to this gathering, and in particular, the government of China and for its generous support to the event, and the government of Japan. I'm excited to see the great interest in this event, with almost 2,000 people attending, representing governments, national statistics offices, international and regional organizations, civil society, academia, and the private sector. This is a testimony to the increasing level of collaboration across different data ecosystems, the unprecedented number of new initiatives and approaches for the improvement of data production and utilization, and the impact of its first forum in Cape Town in raising the importance of data and statistics for the full implementation of the 2030 Agenda. The forum arises at a crucial time for strengthening data and statistical capacity around the world. We are nearing the end of the third year of the 2030 Agenda and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, integrating all three dimensions of sustainability, the economic, social, and environmental, that will guide international development efforts and the national policy making up through 2030. To do so, it is essential to have relevant, timely, open, and disaggregated data, which requires that all communities represented in this room fulfill a critical role and find ways to work across different domains and create partnerships and synergies. The new agenda poses enormous challenges for the global data and statistics system, and I'm excited to see the ways in which the various data communities are modernizing, increasing capacity, and cooperating at a truly global level. In particular, the national statistical offices are playing a key role, since they constitute the core of national information systems and are the institutions responsible for ensuring the production of reliable and high-quality statistics in line with international standards to ensure data quality and comparability, and in full alignment with the fundamental principles of official statistics. National statistical offices are also establishing important partnerships with civil society and the private sector, and without which it would not be possible to meet the new data demands. Ladies and gentlemen, the priorities for addressing these challenges are clearly outlined in the Cape Town Global Action Plan for Sustainable Development Data, launched at the first forum, and emphasizing innovation and modernization of national statistical systems are imperative to achieve the 2030 agenda. These include facilitating the application of new technologies and new data sources into mainstream statistical activities, removing barriers to the use of new data sources, and developing guidelines on the use of new and innovative data generated outside the official statistical system into official statistics. We must work together as a global community to integrate information systems consisting of statistics, geospatial information, and data from a variety of sources. And the Department of Economic and Social Affairs at the UN is leading this effort in collaboration with the partners from governments, civil society, academia, and the private sector. We at the UN are pioneering new ways to address these challenges and the opportunities of data interoperability, including by identifying tools and defining governance systems for data sets from different data ecosystems to work with one another across institutional, sectoral, and organizational boundaries. Well, this work was launched at the first forum. It is imperative that this work continue so that we have access to all of the data being produced and users are able to easily combine data from diverse data sources in order to monitor progress on the 2030 agenda. Finally, we must work also ensure that data are open. Significant progress has been made in this area. At the UN, we are leading this work at the global level through the working groups at the UN Statistical Commission on the fundamental principles of official statistics and open data. This work focuses on developing tools, governance systems, and principles that deal with the issues of open data, privacy, and data privacy, including the use of private sector data. Principles for open data, with the people at the center, are key to ensure that we have the necessary data to fulfill the most important ambition of the 2030 agenda of leaving no one behind. To achieve the ambitious set on in the plan, both increased domestic resources and international support will be needed. My expectation is that the outcome of the discussions at this forum on ways to promote more and better funding for data and statistics will help to shape the way forward. The immediate next steps will be translating those ideas into action and ensure that we maximize the effectiveness of funding for sustainable development data, as that is crucial for the successful implementation of the Cape Town Global Action Plan for Sustainable Development Data and for fulfilling the data needs of the 2030 agenda. I look forward to hearing about innovative ways to both increase the amount and the effectiveness of funding for data and statistics. And I'm excited that the Dubai Declaration on Financing for Data and Statistics will be launched at this forum. The United Nations World Data Forum is still in its early years. This is only the second time that we meet at this forum in Dubai, and the forum will take place on a biannual basis. We are at a critical juncture, 3 years into the 2030 agenda, and we will need to act now to ensure that the necessary data are available and used to implement and effectively monitor the 2030 agenda. I thank you.
والآن أود أن أدعو إلى المنصة المتحدثين الموقرين في الجلسة الافتتاحية والتي هي بعنوان تسخير قوة البيانات لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة، والتي ستديرها صحفية البيانات السيدة منى الشلبي، فليتفضلوا مشكورين.
Hi everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with this brilliant panel today. I'm going to get straight into the discussion and introduce our speakers. I'm joined by Mr. Mahmoud Mohiddin, Senior Vice President for the 2030 Development Agenda at the World Bank. I'm also joined by His Excellency Omar Al-Olama, Minister of State for Artificial Intelligence, Mrs. Harpinder Kolakot, Executive Director of Development Initiatives, and Mr. Clint Brown, Director of Product Engineering at ESRI. Welcome. I would like to ask each of the speakers, from where they're seated, what are the priorities for innovation in order to meet the data demands of the 2030 agenda? And importantly, do all of the countries have the resources that they need to do that?
Right. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure for me to be here representing the World Bank Group and to be hosted with the generosity of the United Arab Emirates, its government, and of course its people. The very establishment of the United Arab Emirates is a reminder of the importance of data, because it was established based on wisdom. And as you know, wisdom comes at the very top of the pyramid of knowledge. Wisdom requires knowledge, knowledge requires information, and information cannot be there without data. So for that, we are very excited to be here. And from day one, for the Sustainable Development Goals and its establishment, the World Bank Group, along with the International Monetary Fund and the United Nations, and many of the MDBs of existence back in 2013, identified the importance of the data and data cooperation on that. So if you can show me, please, the first slide. And this is, yes, I think I can do it here. So this is an evidence. Back in 2013, even before launching the SDGs, the heads of these organizations appearing there emphasized that in order to achieve the SDGs, we need to work together in 3 areas: data, finance, and implementation. So data for monitoring the progress. Finance, you cannot do it without good data. And implementation will be misled without good data. The story goes on. This is a more visual one, that we produced the first atlas of the Sustainable Development Goals in cooperation with the UN system and those who signed with us the MOU. And this atlas is the first one that we did since 1965. The first one in 1965 had only 2 indicators: number of people, of population in the country, and the GDP. Then, just coming out from the oven, we have this update on poverty and shared prosperity. Again, this is a reminder of many things. One of them, that data, even after the progress that we have seen, this was launched on the Poverty Day on the 17th of this month, data stopping at 2015. So you cannot really make comparison beyond 2015. This is basically guiding the policymakers and the people with a back mirror that goes back 3 years old. Not very helpful. So we updated that by some information and projections for 2018. We are very much constrained by what we can obtain from the field. And finally, this could be an eye test from a distance, or even if you want to see it closer. This is the most recent index, which is very hungry and thirsty for data systems. This is the new human capital project produced by the World Bank with many champions from the UN system, based on data on education and health and survival. And this is a real eye test, but this is just a teaser for you. Please to Google it or to use other way of understanding where is your country in this ranking of 157 countries, based on data and available from countries, to attract the attention to data required for improving the human capital, which is one of the main investments that we need to have to achieve the SDGs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think if we look at achieving the SDGs as a holistic problem for humanity and countries as a whole, the challenge is a challenge of data. And that can be seen if we look at, for example, I'm just using this example to elaborate on the point, meteorological data and climate data for one day on Earth is around 100 petabytes of data. That's 100 million gigabytes of data. Just for us to further visualize it, if we put them on CD drives, I know that most people don't use CD drives today, that will be 300 kilometers high if we stack them together. It takes a scientist more than 100 years for that scientist to analyze one day's worth of climate and meteorological data of Earth. So when we look at something like the Sustainable Development Goals, if we look at, for example, something like climate change, it's a challenge or a race against time. And if we do not have the systems that are able to actually read this data, crunch it, and give us advice on a real-time basis, we are losing the race. The second challenge that we have is, with regard to specific Sustainable Development Goals, we need to be informed on a real-time basis, so on a second-by-second basis. And I think deploying these systems in a way that the data actually pulls directly into the AI algorithm or in the smart systems would allow us to take much more informed decisions. So I truly believe that we can leverage technology for us to take much more insightful decisions and to achieve the SDGs, hopefully in the time frame that has been set.
Thank you. Mrs. Wallace.
Thank you. First of all, let me just start by, oh, sorry. Firstly, let me just start by saying what an honor it is to be part of this eminent panel, to be part of the opening plenary of the Second World Data Forum, and to be part of the whole conference as well. There are some incredible organizations and dynamic individuals who are part of this conversation, and I think that's one of the reasons why this conversation is so dynamic, different, and relevant as well. The shift from the MDGs to the SDGs did one critical thing that was different to the MDG era. It really put the data and statistical community at the heart of driving the SDG agenda, and that's a big responsibility that has been given to all of us in this room. And I think what we do with that responsibility is going to be really critical in the implementation of the global goals. And it's with that I particularly want to focus on a particular community whose voice, for me, is particularly relevant. And it is the policymakers whose voice, I think, is particularly relevant. And I'm not sure, this is a question, how much of it we will hear over the course of the next 3 days. And policymakers are the policymakers who are working from the national to the subnational level. We have to really think about that. It is their needs that has to be driving the investments around the data that we produce, so that they can make the right decisions and put in place the right policies and approaches to really implement the SDG agenda. And I'd be very keen to see more of that come out through this conversation. The connections between the data community and the political decision makers are going to be critical to realize the transformative power of data. And data has to move beyond just improving data systems to improving people's lives. So for me, ultimately, we need to demonstrate that action, and that action pretty quickly as well. And that's a challenge to all of us who are working in this space. Because we're nearly a quarter of the way through the SDG agenda already. And we need to think about how we are using the data that is already available, and we do have a huge amount of data, so that we can actually start to spearhead some action, as well as improving data systems, data governance, interoperability of data as we go forward as well. And for me, there are particularly 3 things that I would like to highlight that we could be doing to go beyond just improving data systems to improving lives and making sure that data is transformative. First of all, looking at transparency and accessibility of data for all. Secondly, mobilizing the power of administrative data. And thirdly, data communications. So when I talk about transparency and accessibility of data for all, this is a really important issue. We need to make sure that we have access to information of the critical data that is really needed to implement policy and target people and resources. Without that information being available and accessible in a way that people can make sense of it, we are going to fundamentally struggle to deliver the policy changes that are required to deliver that transformative outcomes in people's lives. Secondly, mobilizing the power of administrative data. I think this is the critical area where we do need to have much greater investment. This agenda is about transforming individual people's lives. And to do that, we really need to be able to know who those people are, where they are, where they're being born, why they are being left behind, and also simple information about their deaths and what are the causes of some of those deaths. At the moment, unfortunately, we have a dearth of some of this information, and particularly on the people who are most likely to be left behind. So actually, investing in administrative data systems remains critical to be able to spearhead this agenda and take it forward. And my final point is around data communications. So data communications, I think, is the next frontier with regards to actually how we mobilize and use the data. Now, all of you in this room are probably surfing one form or another of a social media platform as we speak. And that's absolutely fine. We're all hugely energized and engaged about communicating. We want to communicate. We want to have a dialogue. We want to engage in information. But we're not, I would say, we as data users, those who are catalyzing that data, are not making the most of the potential data offers to really catalyze some of the change in the hands of the public and politicians. And so where we can do, if we can invest the same amount of energy, the same amount of power, the same amount of innovation into data communications, we can really transform the impact that data has on people's lives. I'll stop there.
Thank you. As a data journalist, I couldn't agree more about the need for communication. Thank you.
So, some of the things that I've been thinking about relate to the platforms I know, which is really about GIS. GIS is very interesting because it's an integrating platform that brings information together. These days, there are 350,000 organizations worldwide collecting data for their areas of interest, for their thematic subjects, the things they want to study, the things they want to act on, and so on. And every single organization, when they started to build their data, only were thinking about their own little area and building their own system. But what's happened in the computing world with cloud, and it's going to be kind of an inevitable evolution of how cloud gets adopted. There's this opportunity for information sharing and bringing data together from many systems. We're already starting to see evidence of that, not just for professionals, but also appropriate access for people in the public and interested parties in other groups. And we're starting to see systems come to life, computing power being available in these cloud systems that can do some amazing things. Just a couple of examples. The entire Landsat imagery collection, going back to the 1970s, is now available online for processing. The new Sentinel mission, Sentinel-2 content, is now being collected every day. It's spinning in the cloud. It's ready for use. We've been using that data on a lot of fires in the US and hurricane response efforts. Those are big, huge data sets that weren't available before. So I think one of the things to be thinking about as a priority is how do we work together? How do we make data and open up access in appropriate ways? Nobody should ever share information that's highly proprietary or sensitive, but I think this opportunity for many people to participate is upon us. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, as you all know, the key aspects of the 2030 Agenda is to ensure that no one is left behind, and data is an essential part of fulfilling that ambition. But how do we ensure that we have and use the right data? And again, from where you're sitting today, what are the key actions that we need to take?
Well, very big aspirational objective, leaving no one behind. But in order to translate it into action, can we first know who's around? Are they accounted for? Do we really need more information to know more about their very existence or not? The figures are very worrying. For the low-income countries, we have no clue about services and support to around 40% of the population because they don't have any kind of identification. As far as the official records, they don't exist, 40%. And more of that, this is the average. When it comes to women, you add to that around 6%. So there is a discrepancy on that. The picture is better when it comes to the middle-income countries, where the knowledge is better, and for those who have identification, it's close to 92%, and for the upper middle-income countries, is close to 97%. And technology today is really helpful, and we have seen great transformation in the identification when it has good policy and good leadership. And sitting next to His Excellency, the Minister responsible for artificial intelligence, for the new digital economy, there is no way for the public to get access to services or to be part of the new economy without identification. And that identification needs to be electronic and to be secured and to be supported by systems. As our colleagues in the bank, they call it the new DNA. You need better data systems, and you need networks that are secured, and you need artificial intelligence, mastering the new codes and languages of the future. For that, we have many initiatives, including the ID4D, which is Identification for Development, benefiting from partnership with the private sector, governments, and the UN system in order to improve the information and the accessibility of the average citizen to the system. But with that, you require investment in the people themselves to know their rights and to be part of the new world and the knowledge associated with it. You need to invest in the new infrastructure while the old infrastructure is very much required, like the highways, seaports, and airports, but the investments in the requirements for fiber optics, broadband, and accessibility at the relevant speed is very much needed. And finally, you need to invest in the resilience of the whole system by making it more secure to shocks and more adaptive to changes. So these are the identified gaps, but there are many ways for the private sector, along with governments and the UN system and the research centers, to do a better job going forward. Otherwise, this big aspirational goal is going to be just a dream without realization in 2030. Thank you.
Thank you. His Excellency. Amazing.
So if we look at the trajectory of the world right now, where we're heading as a species, we understand that development and improvement of countries across the world were led by two things: resources and talent. So in the past, if you have oil or if you have gold or a natural resource, you would thrive. And if you have the talent that is able to steer your country in the right direction, you'll be able to thrive. And we see that with some countries that don't have many natural resources, but have many talented people. The challenge that we have right now is this is shifting from resources being natural resources to resources being data. So the more data you have, the wealthier you will become as a country. And the talent shifting from just human beings to systems that are able to take this data and really take better decisions and improve lives. The biggest issue that the world is facing right now is technology literacy or awareness of what's happening. Many countries are not investing in collecting data. And that, I think, is a big issue. Many decision makers do not understand what these systems are capable of or how to deploy these systems, which I think is another issue as well. So when it comes to jumping on the train that is going to take us to that future that we want to go to, certain countries are going to leapfrog ahead of other countries because they are more technology literate, they understand and are aware of what's happening, and they're able to take better decisions because of these systems. I don't want to be biased just towards artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is a system that lives on data. If we don't have data, you can't do anything with these systems, unfortunately. And I think this is one thing that we need to focus on. The other is with regards to inclusion and with regards to development. There are different types of developments that we have seen historically that have had big impact on us. One of which is urban development. Some countries developed very fast and they look beautiful today, but they gave us, unfortunately, climate change. And today other countries are looking to develop in the same manner, but are not able to because they need to cap the emissions that they have. The reason being is because we did not focus on responsible development. We focused on just development. If we want to ensure that data is used in the right manner, that these systems are used to actually benefit humanity, we need to focus on responsible development of artificial intelligence. Responsible development when it comes to gathering data. Data right now is being used by specific social media platforms, as one of the panelists mentioned, and some of them use them to get us more addicted. We are addicted on these platforms, and these are having big implications on countries and individuals. So we need to really push this agenda of responsible development of technology and responsible usage of data. That is something that all countries need to do collectively, not just one or two countries. And I think this is the agenda we need to push as the World Data Forum, as countries and international organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to repeat what our panelists have already said, and I agree with a number of things you've raised. I would just highlight the difference between monitoring the SDGs, which is about monitoring progress against the goals. But when we look at leaving no one behind, we need to actually focus on who's included in that progress. So there are two different things that are going on here with the SDGs. And we need to be making sure that our data systems that we're collecting are actually responding to both. And to be able to monitor the progress of people who are most likely to be left behind, we need to first of all know who they are. And I hate to sound like a breaking record, but if we don't know who's most likely to be left behind, we really can't say whether we're achieving our commitment around leaving no one behind. And one thing we do know, that those countries that have been mentioned already, those countries that are going to be slower off the mark on using technology, that have some of the most difficult challenges, the biggest hurdles to climb with regards to improving their data systems and their methodologies to collect the data, are also the ones that have the greatest concentration of people who are most likely to be left behind. We define that as the P20, the poorest 20% of the global population. And unfortunately, those who are most likely to be left behind will not be able to be targeted through global aggregates, through estimates and modeled data. And this is what we've been used to using as a result of the data that's available to us. We do need to actually be able to understand who those individual people are and where they are, etc. And that requires us to collect different types of data and focus new technologies on supporting that collection of the data. So administrative systems absolutely need to improve. Vital CRVS we really need to look at how we can use technology to mobilize more CRVS data. We also need to look at disaggregated data as well. And that's really essential. And there's a lot of work that is currently going on by a number of groups that are looking at new methodologies on how we can actually improve information around identity of people which may be contributing to them being left behind, such as disability, such as age-related issues. We've also got gender that's being focused on at the moment has been highlighted as a priority area where we don't have enough information. There's a lot of work being done by expert groups that really needs to start being implemented at the country level. These methodologies are there. Let's take them and start using them in the way that we're collecting data. And thirdly, I'd like to focus on feedback data as well. It's really important we actually hear the voices of the people who are most likely to be left behind. It is no use having official data telling us, oh yes, we've reached them. We also need to validate that official data through data from people, from what they are thinking. Have their life improved? Do they have better access to certain services? Can they go to a nearby health facility? Are their children getting educated? Are they receiving the social protection that is being implemented in their name? Are their lives changing? Have they got the job opportunities that we have promised them under the SDG agenda? So the voice of people and the data we get from the voice of people is equally as essential in this data ecosystem. One thing I want to highlight just before I conclude on to my comments is the Inclusive Data Charter. This was launched earlier this year, and it's being spearheaded by the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data. I think it's a great initiative, not only because we're involved in it, but I do think actually it's a really great initiative to try to bring the political together with the technical. And it goes back to my earlier point, how critical it is to ensure that the political and the technical come together so we have a cohesive and coherent agenda at the ground level. We're not putting a lot of effort into siloed projects. When we're putting investments into data projects, particularly some of the big data challenges that we've got, we're investing huge amounts of money, that they have cohesive implications, and they're not just actually addressing one siloed area or a particular sector. There is wider engagement as well, and that is only going to happen when we look at this in the wider political priorities of a country and at the subnational level as well. So I would actually call out to this conference to say, let's do data differently. Let's take that challenge and really take it to the next level. And that requires us to think about where we also put our investments. Is the investment around continued funding of surveys the best place to be putting our investments? Should we be looking at alternative methods? And how can we improve the data systems at the subnational level that will really give the information that people need at the subnational level to make decisions about the people who are most likely to be left behind?
This is a really interesting kind of thing. You know, if you think about private partnerships and private organizations, there's lots of opportunities there. Our particular company, Esri, we support primarily, I say the majority of our customers are government agencies, NGOs, international organizations. We have plenty of businesses, and that's a big growing part of our business. But we work with a lot of these companies to support the work of governments and NGOs and volunteers. And the approach we've taken at Esri over the years is that we give away our technology to NGOs. And we're doing the same thing in partnership with a number of partners for the Sustainable Development Goals. So just tangibly speaking, Microsoft is providing cloud and artificial intelligence, AI for Earth, for SDGs. CA Technologies is providing API expertise. The Public Foundation is providing media and communication. You'll see all these organizations here this week. ShareMeister is working on community engagement, the idea of no one being left behind. Voltaic Systems is working on innovative solar. The Africa Development Bank is working on things. And ESRI has also made the decision, our president, Jack Dangerman, has a real passion for this, that we donate our software to schools around the world, K-12. All schools can get our software for free for education. We have materials for that. We also have a donation related to the Agenda for Sustainable Development offered to all developing countries up to and through 2030. And that includes free access to technology, data, expertise, becoming a part of the SDG community, like through the SDG Hub, and then experience it working with each country and how we build on, like the great work that's being done by FCSA here in Dubai. In February they started, they've already implemented a very impressive system that you'll see throughout the week. This just pretty amazing. Some of the things we work on also relate to data. Like we have something called the Living Atlas. And if you wonder what that is, it's actually the largest data collection ever assembled of geographic information in the world. It's not us that's doing that work. We have a team of about 25 people who synthesized and brought that data together and organized it in a whole. But the work has been done by 350,000 organizations worldwide. But that information is available. There's some pretty amazing layers in there. There's a synthesis for the ecological land units of the entire world. The same thing for the oceans that explore the depths and have made maps. And there's just so much more that the private sector is offering into this. I would say the other thing that's really interesting is the innovation opportunities, the experimental opportunities. Sometimes private sectors can have a little more freedom to experiment with ideas and to make new discoveries. Sometimes agencies are a little bit constrained by policy and kind of general citizen support for that. But I think what's really exciting to us is we see this as a partnership. We don't see this as a client kind of customer business relationship. We see it as a partnership that we all want to participate in. And I would also say these organizations, commercial organizations and other organizations that are here this week feel the same way. I think we all are committed to doing something to build a sustainable world. Thanks.
Thank you. So finally, I'd just like to ask the speakers to share one last reflection about their expectations for this exciting Second World Forum and what they see as their immediate next steps when they leave on Thursday.
I think it will be of a great value if we, after the 2 good days of discussion during this forum, is to agree on the vision for the future as far as the frameworks of partnerships could be developed. That was the most frequently used term among all of us today, government, researchers, private sector. But partnerships come with many opportunities and many risks. And it's not enough just to download regulations. It's very much for each country to have a national policy with foundation for these partnerships to work and to minimize the risks, and how to build the infrastructure for it and boost it further. That requires a great deal of infrastructure, knowledge, and trust for these partnerships to happen. I'm not in any way trying to promote what we can do at the World Bank, but at least for funding and technical assistance, either for the low-income countries through IDA operations or for the high-income countries, even like Emirates, we can really do technical cooperation and share knowledge for the better. Without partnerships, I think we'll be very much handicapped because each entity comes with its comparative disadvantage and, of course, comparative advantages. The point that was raised by the minister as well about the opportunity coming with the new data, and I think it's customary to talk about big data as the new oil. But while oil comes with a value when it is with a scarcity, we need data with abundance. But that requires better information system and better infrastructure and good support in the analysis for that. And again, there are lots of good work that are happening in existence of partnerships to push that for the agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. We need that all not to be in a vacuum. We need that to be linked to implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, how to finance them better. I know that there are people who are basically living on data. These are the data for data people, but we take it from development community perspective. It's data for development, data for finance, and data for the people at large. And we hope that your discussions are going to be helping us achieve these big objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you so much.
I think to some extent we've already achieved one of the goals, and that's if we sat together on the 22nd of October in 2008 and we were on a platform that had the word data in it, I think this room would have been empty. But just having all these people and the media and decision makers come together and really showcase the importance of data is really something that shows that we are moving in the right direction as a collective humanity. I think some of the things that we need to do is first, we really need to share our experience and our knowledge with each other, whether it's government to government, business to government, or business to business. Because when it comes to data, when it comes to these new platforms, no one has it right. We're all experimenting together. And the best experimental processes are things that are collaborative, not singular in nature. The second is I think we really need to increase data literacy and technology literacy across our companies and our governments. People need to understand why it's important for us to ride this wave so that we can actually control the systems in the future and we can be a part of this future. And then finally, with data as well comes risks. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the way that these data sets are leveraged are going to shape the future of our planet. Some data sets are biased, for example, or some data sets are not accurate. That's a big risk. Other uses of data as well are going to have big implications on the lives of people. So if these systems are used to take decisions on our livelihood, if we don't understand what this data is capable of, we really are putting a recipe for disaster. So I think it's also important for us to work on some sort of global framework when it comes to usage of data, the right usage of data, auditing of data, understanding data, and collaborating when it comes to data. Where does privacy start and where does it end? Where does, let's say, common or public collection of data start and where does it end? So these questions need to be answered, and this is the first step towards reaching that future.
Thank you.
So if data is the new oil, how do we ensure that what happened with oil, it being hoarded and slowly released, doesn't happen with data? So how do we actually make sure that our approach is much more open, it's much more transparent, the collaborations actually lead to data ownership by all? And that's going to be it's going to require us to work differently. We've started the conversation. We've brought official and non-official communities together. We've brought the private sector into these discussions. We've got a hugely diverse, dynamic community here. But the next challenge for the World Data Forum and the community leading it is to really actually translate that into a coherent agenda that is going to lead to that transformative action. And we need to do it fast. I think we shouldn't be spending many, many years talking about doing it. We just need to get on and put those processes in place so that we can actually see that transformative change happen in people's lives.
So while the other speakers were talking, I was kind of going back to one thought, and that is there's many instances in this audience and here this week that are doing amazing work. I mentioned FCSA and their work, which is marvelous. But there's other countries that have already started to make progress at the national and the subnational level. And these countries are very interesting. They include very sophisticated countries like Ireland and Mexico, but they also include many other places. I should probably mention South Africa in that. Senegal, the Philippines, Palestine. There's many organizations that are already starting to use data, and I would just encourage you to get started. We don't have to solve all the big problems. I think first, if we can apply systems in our own countries and start to learn the practice of how to do this and to build useful information products that help us address the problems we face, I think we can start nationally, and what's been built by the UN, GGIM and their SDG.org organization is a portal where all of those techniques and all those results are starting to be shared. And I think there's a lot to learn from the good work that some of these organizations have already started to do. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I hope you'll join me in thanking our panel one more time for the brilliant discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
شكراً للمتحدثين. الحضور الكرام، ستبدأ الجلسة القادمة خلال دقائق. الرجاء البقاء في مقاعدكم وشكراً. سمو الشيخ حمدان بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم ولي عهد دبي ورئيس المجلس التنفيذي لإمارة دبي، أصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة، الضيوف الكرام، أهلاً بكم في منتدى الأمم المتحدة العالمي للبيانات 2018. اسمحوا لي أن أبدأ بكلمة اقتبستها من كتاب رؤيتي لصاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم حفظه الله، عندما قال: سادة الحضور، نستأنف الكلمة بعد دقائق. السادة الكرام، سنستأنف برنامجنا بعد قليل. الرجاء البقاء في مقاعدكم وشكراً على حسن انتظاركم. Dear guests, we will be resuming in few minutes. I kindly ask you to remain seated and thank you so much for waiting.
دأبت القيادة الرشيدة لدولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة على وضع الخطط والبرامج الحكومية المستقبلية الكفيلة بضمان بناء مستقبل أفضل للأجيال القادمة. وبفضل رؤية الحكومة والعمل الجاد استطعنا التغلب على التحديات والتحول إلى دولة لها مكانتها المتقدمة بين دول العالم. ولضمان التقدم المستمر للدولة والتأكيد على ريادتها العالمية، اهتمت القيادة برصد أداء الدولة وجهود مؤسساتها في القطاعين الحكومي والخاص بناء على بيانات وإحصائيات دقيقة يتم توفيرها للمؤسسات الدولية. تعمل الهيئة الاتحادية للتنافسية والإحصاء منذ تأسيسها في عام 2015 مع كافة الجهات على الارتقاء بالتنافسية العالمية وتحديث المنظومة الإحصائية في الدولة وتحقيق أهداف التنمية المستدامة. ولهذا حرصت دولة الإمارات على استضافة منتدى الأمم المتحدة للبيانات العالمي 2018 انسجاماً مع توجيهات القيادة الرشيدة نحو تبني منهجية الابتكار واستخدام أحدث التقنيات في العالم من أجل أن تكون دولة الإمارات مختبراً عالمياً في مجال التكنولوجيا المتقدمة. فالبيانات اليوم هي اللغة الموحدة التي يتخاطب بها صناع القرار، وعليها يتم وضع الخطط الاستراتيجية والسياسات، وهي الطريقة الأسرع لوصف مدى تقدم الدول، حيث حققت دولة الإمارات إنجازات عالمية تشيد بها معظم تقارير التنافسية العالمية، كتحقيق المركز الأول عالمياً في أكثر من 50 مؤشراً عالمياً وفقاً للعديد من مؤشرات التنافسية العالمية 2018، وذلك في العديد من القطاعات الحيوية والمجتمعية والخدمية. كما ربطت حكومة دولة الإمارات بين المساعدات الخارجية المقدمة وتعزيز الجهود الدولية الرامية لتنفيذ أهداف التنمية المستدامة في مختلف دول العالم، حيث احتلت الدولة المرتبة الأولى عالمياً في عام 2017 من حيث نسبة المساعدات الإنمائية الرسمية من الدخل القومي الإجمالي. نحن اليوم نتطلع وعبر الارتقاء بتنافسية الدولة وتعزيز المنظومة الإحصائية ودعم مسيرة الاستدامة لأن نصبح أفضل دولة في العالم بحلول الذكرى المئوية لقيام الدولة في عام 2071، وذلك بالتركيز على إعداد جيل يحمل راية المستقبل وتأمين مستقبل سعيد وحياة أفضل للأجيال القادمة، ولن نترك أحداً خلفنا. دأبت القيادة الرشيدة لدولة
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، رئيس مؤسسة محمد بن راشد للمعرفة ورئيس اللجنة الأولمبية الوطنية، أصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة، الضيوف الكرام، أهلاً بكم في منتدى الأمم المتحدة العالمي للبيانات 2018. اسمحوا لي أن أبدأ بكلمة اقتبستها من كتاب رؤيتي لصاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم حفظه الله، عندما قال: كل ما ارتفعت جودة المعلومات التي يستند إليها القائد في اتخاذ قراره، ارتفعت مثلها فرص اتخاذ القرار الجيد. إنها رؤية حكامنا الحكيمة التي أوصلت دولة الإمارات إلى الرقم 1 عالمياً في شتى المجالات، كان أبرزها هذا العام بحسب تقارير الكتاب السنوي للتنافسية العالمية أن الإمارات وصلت إلى الرقم 1 في جودة القرارات الحكومية والتوجهات نحو العولمة، كما حصدت الرقم 1 في التعاون التكنولوجي بين الشركات وغيرها الكثير. واليوم وبعد منافسة عدة دول فازت دولة الإمارات وبتنظيم من الهيئة الاتحادية للتنافسية والإحصاء باستضافة هذا المنتدى ليكون خير شاهد على جهود هيئات يقوم عليها أبناء الوطن وحرصهم على تحقيق رؤية حكومتنا الرشيدة. اسمحوا لي أن أدعو سعادة عبد الله ناصر لوتاه المدير العام للهيئة الاتحادية للتنافسية والإحصاء ورئيس اللجنة المنظمة للمنتدى للتفضل إلى المنصة مشكوراً.
شكراً أختي ليال. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، سمو الشيخ منصور بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، معالي أمين محمد نائب الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة الضيوف الكرام من داخل الدولة وخارجها، يشرفني في مستهل كلمتي وباسم راعي هذا المنتدى العالمي أن أرحب بكم وبمشاركتكم في منتدى الأمم المتحدة للبيانات 2018. فأنتم نخبة القادة والعلماء والباحثين والخبراء في مجالات مختلفة. وأنتهز هذه الفرصة لأتقدم بأسمى آيات الشكر والامتنان لسيدي صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم نائب رئيس الدولة رئيس مجلس الوزراء حاكم دبي على رعايته الكريمة لهذا الحدث العالمي. هذا المنتدى نطمح من خلاله إلى مناقشة أفضل السبل التي تمكننا جميعاً من الاستفادة من البيانات وتحسين جودتها وتسهيل الوصول إليها وتوجيهها لما هو نافع لازدهار العالم. وفي هذا المقام يسعدني أن أنقل لكم بعضاً من كلمات سموه، حيث قال في إحدى الجلسات بأننا في دولة الإمارات نعمل لتكون الدولة أكبر مختبر في العالم لتصميم وصناعة المستقبل. وأوضح سموه أن حكومة دولة الإمارات تعمل على استثمار كافة الجهود النوعية وتوظيف تكنولوجيا الثورة الصناعية الرابعة في صياغة ما هو قادم من خدمات ومنتجات وابتكارات. نحن في دولة سبقت العالم بإطلاق استراتيجية دولة الإمارات للثورة الصناعية الرابعة، كما تم الإعلان عن استراتيجية خاصة للذكاء الاصطناعي، ووضعت القيادة الرشيدة العديد من الخطط التي تجعل المستقبل واقعاً من الآن. إن البيانات هي الدعامة الاستراتيجية لانتهاز الفرص المتوافرة في كافة القطاعات، ولذلك أصبحت البيانات اليوم نفط المستقبل وإحدى أهم ممكنات الثورة الصناعية الرابعة. فبينما يتدارس العالم أهمية البيانات والدور الذي يمكن أن تلعبه في صياغة المستقبل، سبقت دولة الإمارات العديد من الدول المتقدمة في تفعيل دور البيانات كمحور مهم لدعم اتخاذ القرارات الهامة والمرتبطة باستدامة ونمو القطاعات ذات الأولوية القصوى. لا شك أن هذا المنتدى هو أهم تجمع دولي متخصص في البيانات والإحصاء، وهو محرك قوي لأجندة التنمية العالمية بما يحققه من ضرورة توفير بيانات دقيقة ومحدثة ومفصلة عن السكان والصحة والتعليم والتنمية وغيرها من المجالات الهامة، كما يشكل خطوة داعمة للعمل الإحصائي وتوفير أفضل البيانات، ويمثل فرصة مثالية لدعم مؤشرات أهداف التنمية المستدامة 2030. أود أن أشير إلى أن الهيئة الاتحادية للتنافسية والإحصاء بما لديها من بيانات وطنية وإحصاءات عن أهم القطاعات تمثل منصة داعمة لتحقيق مستهدفات الأجندة الوطنية لرؤية الإمارات 2021 وأهداف التنمية المستدامة 2030. وتعمل الهيئة مع شركائها في كافة الحكومة بالارتقاء بمكانة دولة الإمارات في تقارير التنافسية العالمية. ومن خلال مرونتها ولياقتها في العمل تحقق الهيئة مفهوم الشراكة والعمل المشترك مع كافة الجهات الحكومية في الدولة والقطاع الخاص والمؤسسات الدولية. هذه الإنجازات كانت ستحتاج إلى سنوات عديدة في دولة غير دولة الإمارات، إلا أننا نتطلع إلى الابتكار الدائم والمستمر، ونعمل من خلال رؤية القيادة الرشيدة التي تؤكد دوماً إلى التطلع للمستقبل بكل تفاؤل وإيجابية. تحفزوننا سموكم دوماً لخوض التجارب المختلفة للوصول إلى الريادة العالمية. سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، سمو الشيخ منصور بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، معالي أمين محمد، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، الضيوف الكرام، نحن اليوم ومن خلال هذا المنتدى نستشرف المستقبل، ونتوقع أن الكثير منا سيخرج منه بمعرفة وقدر عال من الأفكار والمقترحات. ومن خلال هذا التجمع العالمي أتمنى أن نضع نصب أعيننا أن هدفنا ليس الخروج بنتائج تخدم الحكومات أو الأفراد أو المؤسسات فقط، وإنما هدفنا الأسمى هو التطلع لخدمة 7 مليارات نسمة في هذا العالم. نريد لهم مستوى حياة أفضل ورؤية أفضل لحاضرهم ومستقبلهم. أتمنى للجميع التوفيق والنجاح في تحقيق أهداف المنتدى وغاياته، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
سعادة عبد الله ناصر لوتاه، شكراً جزيلاً لك. أصحاب السمو، الضيوف الكرام، استطاعت موانئ دبي العالمية تبوء مكانة بارزة من خلال إدارة أحد أكبر 10 موانئ للحاويات في العالم، فهي لا تحرص على مواصلة الاستثمار لتكون الرائدة عالمياً في مجال إدارة الموانئ فحسب، بل تلعب دوراً حيوياً في بناء المجتمعات عبر التجارة والاستثمار في البنية التحتية. أدعو سعادة السلطان أحمد بن سليم رئيس مجلس الإدارة والرئيس التنفيذي لشركة موانئ دبي العالمية إلى المنصة، فليتفضل مشكوراً.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم رئيس مؤسسة محمد بن راشد المعرفة، سمو الشيخ منصور بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، معالي أمين محمد نائب الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة، أشكركم لدعوتي لي للتحدث معكم اليوم في موضوع مهم جدا يختص بالمعلومات وأهمية تحويل البيانات إلى معلومات. البيانات كنز لا قيمة له إذا لم يتحول إلى معلومات تستخدم لاتخاذ قرار. بالنسبة للموانئ، تاريخياً الموانئ تنقل بضائع، اليوم نحن كشركة ننقل معلومات. المعلومات تساعدنا في أن نوصل البضائع بطريقة أسرع، لأن نخلص الإجراءات قبل أن تصل البضاعة، وهذا يخفف التكاليف. مثال حي، بضاعة تنتقل من فرانكفورت إلى شيكاغو تأخذ 9 ساعات الرحلة فقط، تأخذ إجراءات تخليصها 48 ساعة، لأن ما استخدمت المعلومات المسبقة الموجودة لتحويلها لقرار أن تستطيع أن الأجهزة أن تتخلص على البضائع. في سلسلة التوريد أو سلسلة نقل البضائع اللي هي من ميناء لباخرة لمستودع، لابد أن المعلومات تساعدنا أن ننقل بضاعة بسرعة فائقة. وكوننا نحن شركة نقل معلومات، نحول معلومات إلى قرار يساعد في تخليص البضائع، يصل التطعيم مثلا إلى المستشفيات بسرعة، تصل مواد الإغاثة بسرعة، تصل الأغذية إلى المستودعات بسرعة. من خلال المعلومات التي لدينا عن المعوقات اللي تواجه وصول البضائع، اتخذنا إجراءات في أن ننشئ مستودعات في مناطق معينة. مثلا عندنا مستودعات في مالي اللي هي تقدر توصل البضائع بسرعة للمستهلك، لأنها كانت تفسد. في كيغالي في رواندا تأخذ أسبوعين البضائع من ميناء مومباسا إلى ميناء أو ميناء دار السلام. الآن باستخدام الطرق وبالمعلومات عن البضائع اللي تحتاجها المناطق المحيطة لكيغالي مثل جمهورية وسط أفريقيا، مثل ملاوي، مثل بوروندي، مثل أجزاء من الكونغو، مثل أوغندا، نستطيع أن نحدد كمية البضائع هذه وننقلها بطريقة سهلة عبر بحيرة فيكتوريا اللي ما كان هذا الشيء موجود. المستودع هذا طبعا اشتغل. المعلومات تصل أو البيانات تصل قبل البضائع، فلا بد أن نعمل بطريقة أسرع لاتخاذ القرار. خلال اجتماعاتكم الثلاث أيام القادمة التحدي الكبير أن نحول المعلومات لقرار وتنفيذ القرار. هذا أهم تحدي. في النهاية المعلومات إذا ما استخدمت ما منه فائدة. شكرا جزيلا.
سعادة السلطان أحمد بن سليم، شكراً جزيلاً لك. ذكر سيدي صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم رعاه الله في أحد المحافل قائلاً: إننا دولة سلام ولا نرضى بالعدوان، ومبدأنا عدم التدخل في شؤون الآخرين وتأييد السلام في كل أرجاء المعمورة ومساعدة الشعوب والدول الفقيرة ليعم الخير والأمن على البشرية جمعاء. واليوم جميعنا يدرك أهمية البيانات في تقييم الأهداف العالمية من أجل القضاء التام على الجوع والفقر ولضمان عالم أكثر مساواة وتحقيق حياة أفضل للجميع على كوكبنا هذا. معالي أمينة محمد نائبة الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة ستحدثنا أكثر عن طرق توجيه وإشراك القطاع الخاص والحكومي ليكونوا عضواً فعالاً في تجميع البيانات التي تمثل الأساس الجوهري لتقديم المساعدة للمجتمع العالمي. فلتتفضل إلى المنصة مشكورة.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Crown Prince of Dubai, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am really, truly honored and pleased to be with you today. We live during a time of unprecedented challenge, but equally unprecedented and massive opportunity. Our blueprint for addressing these challenges and seizing the opportunities is the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. But to achieve the 17 sustainable goals, we will need more and better data. With accurate, representative, inclusive, and disaggregated data, we can understand the challenges we face and identify the most appropriate solutions for sustainable development. For example, data on disaster preparedness and early warning systems can save lives and livelihoods. Last year, natural disasters around the world cost us $330 billion. Better data can help avoid some of these losses. Mexico's earthquake early warning system has issued 158 alerts since 1993, significantly reducing the potential impact. Robust and accessible data and information can also provide a host of other benefits. It does mean that students can find out about a job opportunity and women can learn about laws protecting them from discrimination. It means that citizens can monitor how their governments are performing and hold decision makers to account. It can strengthen trust in public institutions and unveil new opportunities. For example, in Buenos Aires, Google data suggests that rooftop solar potential is equal to about 946,000 tons of avoided emissions every year, which is equivalent to taking 200,000 cars off the road. But while it is clear that the data revolution is having an enormous impact, it has not benefited everyone equally. Since 1970, natural disasters have affected the lives of more than 460 million people in Africa. Many lives and livelihoods could have been saved with better data and forecasting. And in more than 2/3 of countries, there's a lack of gender disaggregated data on violence against women. Our task is to make sure data is available to all people. We must make sure it is harnessed to support the implementation of the 2030 Agenda at all levels and in all regions and countries. That is why the United Nations is leading global efforts to integrate data and information systems. The Open Data Hub for the Sustainable Development Goals allows countries to bring together different data sources integrated with geospatial information for evidence-based decision-making and advocacy. The Global SDG Indicator website gives users access to all available global data and enables them to see interactive stories about progress on implementing the 2030 Agenda. And the UN Global Pulse works to harness big data to accelerate sustainable development and humanitarian action globally. Meanwhile, the UN system is also working to build the statistical capacity of countries to improve the timeliness and quality of data and statistics on the SDGs, and in part through a new global network of statistical training institutions. The United Nations Center for Humanitarian Data in The Hague is increasing the impact and the use of data throughout the humanitarian sector, ensuring that aid workers around the world can access the data they need to make fast, life-saving, and informed decisions. We are also partnering with the World Bank on the Identification for Development, allowing us to ensure that we leave no one behind from birth. We're also examining the broader implications of the data revolution. This means establishing ethical norms, data privacy, and data protection frameworks so that data can be used safely and responsibly for the public good. This year in July, the Secretary General launched a high-level panel on digital cooperation. This panel of experts includes His Excellency Mohammed Al-Gagawi, and we are pleased to have him. The panelist task is to help harness the benefits of emerging technologies, including issues of data literacy, data privacy, and the digital divide, while avoiding the unintended negative consequences of technological innovation, such as job losses and the erosion of workers' rights. But we do urgently need to bridge important gaps. Funding for data and statistical systems remains limited. And beyond funding, we need political, technical, and advocacy support in all areas. We need to develop data literacy, innovative tools and data visualization platforms which allow users to understand data intuitively and to interact seamlessly with data in real time. This will be integral to delivering for people and communities at the country level, the litmus test of our reforms in the UN development system. Our UN country teams of the future must be fully equipped with the right skills and capacities to harness the opportunities offered by all types of data and innovation, including emerging technologies such as big data, artificial intelligence, blockchain, robotics, and drones. We also need to improve the availability of disaggregated and local-level data. To make better decisions, local officials need to understand what is happening at the level of the communities. Local governments, civil society groups, and businesses are developing innovative tools and technologies to improve availability of such detailed local-level data. In Asia, Africa, and South America, women are using crowdsourcing to map the safety of the streets and the public spaces in their communities. Such technology is empowering and can help our communities to be safe for everyone. In Delhi, such data showed that there were more than 7,000 dark spots. The local government is using this data to illuminate these safe areas. Making such inequities visible through better data is crucial to enabling change. I invite all data innovators to work together with the United Nations to improve the availability and use of disaggregated and local data. Together, I believe we can safely and responsibly harness the power of data to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and to bring about a world where no one, absolutely no one, is left behind. And that is why today I welcome you all here today, friends, partners, colleagues, and especially those who are new to working with the United Nations. We need all of you, and we thank you for your engagement and commitment. I look forward to our exchange of ideas here today. I thank you.
معالي أمينة محمد نائبة الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة، شكراً جزيلاً لك. سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، رئيس مؤسسة محمد بن راشد للمعرفة ورئيس اللجنة الأولمبية الوطنية، أصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة، الضيوف الكرام، شكراً على حضوركم ورعايتكم الكريمة لهذا الحدث. أدعو الجميع، جميع الحضور الكريم، للبقاء جالسين في أماكنهم لحين مغادرة أصحاب السمو والمعالي، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.